Let's move on to what was the next question now? All right. So considering all the the mind games that Chelsea have played, they've said that Costa wasn't going to be fit and Drogba wasn't going to be fit and so on and so forth. Now all of a sudden, miracle of miracles, divine intervention has played its part, and they're both pretty much both pretty much fit enough to play. So I mean, how much of an influence will that have on our game? Because Diego Costa loves the confrontation. He is made for English football as far as I'm concerned, in terms of his personality and the way he plays the game. People think he's a madman. I think he's very calculated in the way he targets defenders and tries to unsettle them. I think it's all a mind game to him. He tries to win. He plays on the edge. Sometimes he goes over, but basically he walks the line and he gets inside the defender's head. How important is it that if we're playing Gabriel tomorrow instead of if Mertesacker doesn't make it and Koscielny, how important is it that those two and all the defence basically keep their heads? I'm going to come to you first, Ty, because you haven't really said that much as the other talkaholics amongst us.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He still wants to interrupt me. Sorry.
I haven't said nothing.
Well then.
Go on.
Right. Thank you, G. Well, basically, it's very important. It's very, very important. Because like you said, the mind games is nothing. Even Chelsea fans are trying to play mind games. Mind games, nothing. What they have to do, Laurent, all the defense, but obviously Costa's if he's playing, he's going to be playing up against Gabriel and Laurent, is stick to their game. Because if they stick to their game, then I think they can snuff out Costa. Because you're talking about defenders that Robin, our ex-captain, now at Manchester United, obviously, when they won their game, they've had him in their pocket. So that's what they've got to do. So I don't know, all these mind games. I heard the mind games this morning. Apparently, according to BBC Sport Text, if I could say that, Arsenal has apparently said it's easy to draw, and Mourinho said, well, if it's easy to draw, why did we lose 3-1 to Monaco? It's all mind games. I know you can't see me, but if you could see me, it's the same thing I say to Claude. I just hold my hand like that as if to say, it's all mouth. All you need to do is stick to the game plan. Like Robbie and Clive are saying so well, stick to the game plan. But what we do need as well is a strong referee. Because you're right, G. Costa just told the line. But if he's out of order and he's going way over the top, he needs to be punished. And that is the problem. Now, like I said about at Stamford Bridge, Cahill ploughed into Alexis with a 2-footed challenge. He wasn't sent off. Are they going to be able to do that again? Because the problem is, the thing is, obviously, you can toe the line, you can keep to the plan and all that, but if you feel injustice, you can take your own retribution. And if you do and you get caught, it can turn on you. So that, but I think stick to the plan, home record, fine. Like I said, patience and keeping your head under whatever provocation that Chelsea would do. And they're a mirror carbon image of their manager who doesn't even know what the word humble means, So that's what they're like. They're going to play like that. They're going to try to unsettle us because they know that we play the best football in the league. So it's about concentration at all times and not let anything unsettle you, no matter how much provocation there will be. And we know, because we know what Chelsea are like, let's face it, what they're going to be like. So that's what I think we should be.
Cool. Clive, then we come to Clive, and then you, Claude, and then Robbie. Clive.
Yeah, I think Chelsea are very professional, right? They're a very professional team. They'll do anything they can to win the big moment. But again, I've got so much less worry about tomorrow's game because however a game goes, you have to have the players to adapt to that situation. And if you've got players that respect both sides of the game, and by that I mean on the ball and off the ball, however the game goes, we can adjust. And we've had really good examples this year of us adjusting and adapting during games. Man City away was a real first sign, but really it started with Man United at home. We dominated them, lost the game 2-1. They only had one shot, lost the game 2-1, but we saw signs of us believing we could win these big games. We've never gone out there with that belief. The year before, Man United, a 0-0. Shameful performance at home where we didn't even believe we could win the game. So we started to turn the corner there. And then we went to City, and there was a little bit of positivity amongst all of us at City that we might do something, and we did. And we played two sides of the game there. There were times we pressed high, and there were times we defended deep. Either way, we looked good, right? And we delivered and we scored. And then we showed similar at Manchester United again. We went there with confidence. So we're playing Chelsea at home. We're brilliant at home. We got a smooth pitch. They water it well. The ball's going to move quick. What have we got to worry about? We just got to do our jobs and hopefully pick the right balanced team and beware of those moments of professionalism. Another good thing that we've added this year, we haven't really spoken about, is our set pieces. We're very good at that now. So people used to foul us on the edge of the area and not worry about us putting the ball in the box. We just start the game off again, little 5-yard pass, and off we go, pass in a nice little horseshoe shape. But now we've got one of the best set pieces execution in the whole league. If Chelsea do foul us, I really do fancy them to do something. So I can't hide the positivity, to be honest. I'm very, very hopeful that we can deliver. And if we don't, Rob said a point earlier, we have to win this game. And even a draw is not a good result for us. You know, just imagine it. They get a draw, they walk over to their fans at the end of the game, they've won the league. So a draw, we walk off with our heads down. So they've got 2 results to aim for. You know, even if they lose, they get a little bit of they can feel a bit of joy. But we have to win. There's no doubt about it. We have to win.
Claude, I'm going to come to you then, finally, Robbie. Claude, Costa, mind games, defence. Are you feeling Clive's positivity?
Rob, all I'll say, sorry, G, all I will say now, I don't think there's any problem with our players, player for player, are as good as anyone in the world at the moment. The biggest problem we've got is a mental problem. Once we get over this mental problem that we've got, we can go very, very far.
But you heard what Clive was saying. Clive is saying he thinks we're over that now. And I agree.
I don't think we're still not quite, because we haven't, until we play.
Well, Monaco caught us all out, didn't it, really? That was the one. Monaco at home was the one.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That caught us all out.
Until we play a big pressure game and show our the mental side of our game, until we get that right, we will go around. We will keep going around, keep going. We're all at the moment. We're beating all these teams below. All right, Manchester United exceptional, but
Manchester City,
Man City, yeah.
Okay.
But even then, I'm not too, because they had a lot of players missing.
No, so what? So you can only play the team. I can't believe it. You can only play the team you're in.
Wait a minute. I didn't interrupt you.
Yes, you did.
Wait a minute. Now, let me finish.
I knew it wouldn't take you too long.
If I take like he does, I'll be here all day.
Yeah, he just wants to run for the rest of the show. You might as well turn off your mics, Clive, Rob. When he's finished, we'll come back on.
Wait, hold on. Well, let me finish. All I'll say is, we still haven't, until we play the pressure game, I mean the real pressure game, and get the mentality right, then I'll be convinced. I don't think I'm not convinced yet.
So what will it take?
But player for player, I think we're as good as anyone, and I mean anyone in world football at the moment, and I mean that.
All right, Robbie. Final word on the Costa mind game situation goes to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's typical Chelsea, you know, lots of mind games. You know, I was doing some interview with, there's a fan channel called 100% Chelsea. I was talking to their guys and they were saying, oh, Costa's going to be out, Drogba's going to be out, Remy's out, we don't know who we're going to play up front. And I had a feeling all along that, you know, somebody's going to make a miraculous recovery and return. But I just think that Arsenal just need to say to themselves, well, you know what? We've got a lot of players that they're scared of. Mm-hmm. We've got players that can hurt them. We've got Giroud who's on fire at the moment. We've got Alexis Sanchez is on fire. Ozil is on fire. So we've got a lot of players that can hurt them. It's not like, I don't know, I just feel a bit better about this because I just feel that a lot of times when we've gone into play Chelsea, we've been the team that's had loads of players missing or, you know what I mean? But we're in a good moment. And I just feel that we're going into this on sort of a level playing field. It is a shame, like I think Clive said right at the start, that, you know, they still probably win the title, even if we beat them. You know what I mean? They're so far ahead. It's a shame that United couldn't have got a result against them last week, for instance, and this would have put a lot of pressure on them. But, listen, it's an important game for us, and let's forget about the mind games. You know what I mean? Let's just go out there and do the business on the pitch. high intensity football against Chelsea right from the start. Let's go for them. And we can, in winning that game, make a big statement, even if it's not to win the league, to say that, hey, you know what? See, next year, we're after you. We're on the rise, you know? So,
okay.
Very important game for us, I feel.
Good. All right. Considering the start to the season, do you think Wenger and the team should be applauded for how they've turned it around, especially when you look at certain key moments? You think about the 3-3 at home to Anderlecht, the 2-1 defeat away to Swansea City. The real nadir for me was going away to Stoke. You know, the banner, the abuse, the horrible abuse that Wenger got at the train station. I mean, do you really think that the guys should be applauded for where they've come to this season at this point? I'm going to start with you, Claude, because I know, you probably got.
You know he's negative, yeah.
I'm not going to say that.
Well, it's true, G. I'll say it for you.
Hold on, can let me speak? Sorry. Right, let's get this right. I'm not convinced. All right, we're doing well at the moment, and we're doing brilliantly. But we do this every year. Every year we have a run towards the end of the season. Even last season we had a lovely, great run. What happened the next start of the season? Everyone gets optimistic. We're going to do that. I'll state again. Until we get this mental problem right in the squad, we will not progress further than what we are at the moment. Once we get that right, then we'll do it.
So do you still think that we're still mentally fragile, or do you think it depends on what the outcome of? Okay.
I do at the moment, and I'm not. And they haven't convinced me quite 100% that we aren't.
Ty, do you want to respond to that?
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, I don't know what he needs to be convinced about. You've heard Clive, you've heard Rob. You're saying that we haven't advanced. We're through to the FA Cup.
Did you watch the Monaco game?
Of course I watched the Monaco game.
Did you watch it?
Did you watch the Manchester City game?
Big game.
Did you watch the Manchester United game?
Did we freeze?
Did we freeze against Manchester City?
No, I'm talking about in Europe.
No, but you got to look at all of it. You take the three games. You take Monaco, you take Manchester United away, and you take Manchester City away. We did not freeze at Manchester City. We did not freeze at Manchester United. We froze at Monaco. Fair enough. But if you look, the two outweigh the one. So that doesn't look like mental fragility to me. That looks like on an off day, if you're not right, you can be taken advantage of.
But that was a big game, and that was.
It was a big game.
You can't keep saying off day. That was a massive game.
No, but everybody has off days.
Which we failed again.
Yeah, but everybody has off days. Didn't Chelsea have an off day when they got beaten 4-2 by Bradford? Who would have called that? Everybody has an off day. So what are you saying, that we can't do nothing wrong? Is that what you're saying? We can't do nothing wrong? I think we have progressed. I do. I don't believe. I agree with Clive and Rob. I don't believe that we have a fragile state of mind. I think what we need to do is a bit like, dare I say, Wojciech. We need to concentrate for the 90 and not switch off focus. Because that, I think, sorry to go off on a tandem, Wojciech's problem is because he doesn't have a lot of shots to make. So that's why his mind wanders. We must not let our minds wander. I don't think it's a fragile state of mind, because at that Monaco game, if you're talking about the home game, 2-1, we were back in the tie. But we just switched off. We should have kept the ball. We wanted to get a second one, but we should have kept it 2-1. If we'd kept it 2-1, we would have gone through. And that's what I think it is. So, amazingly,
that's what I'm trying to go on about. That is what I'm trying to go on about.
If I'm allowed to finish, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Claude, Mr. Goom, whatever his name is. I'm agreeing with him and saying, right, that it's about focus. It's about focus. But I don't think that's the fragile state of mind. Focus is that you mustn't believe that the job is done until it is done. Because that's what we did against Brighton. We conceded a silly goal, but we carried on. We weren't undeterred. We won for extra time for a mistake by Federici Ferdinand, but we showed that mental strength to do it. And that's why I'm saying I don't think it's a mental strength, because last season, if you remember in FA Cup, we went behind to Wigan and scored with 8 minutes to go. How many teams would have done that? And we had to beat them on penalties. And we went 2-0 down against Hull in the first 8 minutes. And if it wasn't for Kieran heading off the line from Alex Bruce, we would have been 3-0 down. So no, I don't think it's a fragile state of mind. I think we have progressed. We should have progressed further, and I have no problem with that. But we are going on the right track. And the thing is, your question, G, was, do the team deserve credit? Yes. Does the manager deserve credit? Yes. People like Mr. Doom and Doom stroke Mr. Claude should apologise now, because I don't hear them moaning. All the banners that Rob is saying, where are the banners now? Where are all the people saying disgusting, disgraceful things about the manager now? however angry they are, that's fine. This is the manager of our club. How can you show him so much disrespect when he showed what he can do? So, you know, that's just my take on it.
I want to bring it over. Can I bring it over to Robbie?
I told you about these two, innit?
Yeah.
I know they moan all day, man.
No, he does. Claude does. Rob, not me, Claude.
But listen,
extra time.
No, there is no extra time.
That's right.
We'll have a 10-hour podcast with you two, mate. I'll tell you. Listen, my opinion on it is that I see one encouraging sign is that it looks like Arsenal begin to learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
And I see that in games like, for instance, the other day against Burnley. It was a very disciplined performance by Arsenal. We weren't at our greatest, but we defended really well. We didn't go gun-ho, even when we went 1-0 up. Earlier on in the season, we'd have gone 1-0 up. We'd be trying to get 2, 3, 4, push everybody forward. We did have a little moment like that last week, actually, in the semi-final.
Yeah.
Where we went a little bit gun-ho and we should have been just holding on to our 1-0. But you know, I do see improvement in the team, both mentally, and I do see improvement tactically as well. And that's very encouraging. As I said, I just feel that this game is another one of those games where when the season finishes, we can look back and we can say, right, you know what? We beat Chelsea, where we haven't been beating them for ages. We've beaten Man City. We've beaten Manchester United away. There's shoots of improvement. There's signs now. Mentally, we're getting that out of the way. Let's now take it to the next level and try and win the title. I think these things are good. It's showing a good sort of recovery from Arsenal. When you think about, I mean, I was at all those games you mentioned, G, and at the start of the season, the way we were playing, it was very doubtful that we was even going to get in the top 4.
2 of 8, wasn't it? 2 wins in 8 or something like that.
And now, you know, now we're in second place. And I remember I kept saying, and a lot of people criticised me at the time, I kept saying that I just felt that a lot of it was down to injuries to key players. But the other thing I've got to say is that fair play to those players that, and this is why I can't 100% agree with Claude, because fair play to some of those players. They've showed some mental strength. Well, a guy like Monreal, the amount of grief that guy was getting earlier on in the season. And to see him now, and he's won over nearly every Arsenal fan. Every Arsenal fan you speak to, if they're selecting the team for tomorrow, they'd say Monreal in front of Gibbs. Look what Giroud, how he's turned, you know, the amount of fans that were slating Giroud, he's come back and he's delivered the goods. And that's been really pleasing to see from me. You know, the amount of players that, you know, I don't think you can doubt their mental strength, the way in which they've stepped up. And even earlier on in the season when there were loads of injuries, there were players like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain who stepped up to the plate when there were so many players missing and would put in a really good performance. So I just want to keep some of these players injury-free going into the next season, make a couple of additions, a couple of winners in that team, and I really think we can go places. I really do. This team is starting to look balanced to me, and it hasn't for a few years been a balanced team, and that's been part of the problems why we've just folded. But I'm starting to see a balance come towards the team, which is really good.
Okay, cool. Clive, how have you seen it?
Well, I think it's great points by all of you, to be honest.
Thank you.
But to expand on what Claude said, really, about mentality, I know what he's trying to say. For me, it comes into 2 little pockets, about mental preparation and mental positioning. From a team perspective, the mental preparation for games like Monaco was very, very poor. We just didn't start the game. We didn't approach the game correctly. And that's a worry. We've had many of those games, you know, the 1000s game, where we've just gone out there and we just haven't looked prepared as a team. I don't think it's a team thing. I think it's a coaching thing. It's a club thing. It's a club issue about how we mentally go into certain games. And Ty, you mentioned the cup final, but mate, it's a cup final. And we're 2-0 down to a team that nearly got relegated. I mean, that's got to be down to how we approach that game, how we mentally prepare, what our game plan is. And it's great that we come back with a great day out, great weekend out, but I want us to be serious. I want to be a serious big club that prepares for big moments. Mm-hmm. So what I've seen recently, I mean, Liverpool's a great example. how we prepared for that game. We started that game on fire and we just blew them away. That's what I want to see. Win or lose, I want to see us prepare, have a plan, and execute against it.
Yeah.
And then I also think about what I call mental positioning of the club. I think we're not a club that's poor anymore. You know, we've come out of that period of having to sell a key player every season just to keep the bills paid off until the revenue has gone up, all the commercial deals have changed. We're out of that now. We've bought Ozil, we've bought Sanchez. I'm really excited to see what we're going to do this year. So we need to sit down and say, okay, we're now changed, we're now back. And don't be afraid to say to people, we're going for the league next year, and we're going to buy somebody in central midfield that's going to tell everybody, we're not just going for league, we're going for the Champions League. And that mental positioning, it needs to happen now because we're ready to go. Look at the age profile of the team, it's ready.
100%.
If you look at the age profile, we're ready to go. We got Ozil. He's not someone we just have. We should be putting Royce next to him or Pogba next to him. Let's get serious, right? Because you guys spend the money. Come on. When you go in that Arsenal shop, how big is that queue? You can never get near it, right?
Very true, very true.
That queue is out the door every minute. People love that team. We are a big club and we shouldn't be afraid to be as big as we actually are.
Mm. And like, you know what you're saying there, Clive, is so true. And we need to be looking at it and say, we need to topple Chelsea now. Yeah. Chelsea have been like, we need to topple those guys. We need to, you know what I mean? Forget about pressure off or whatever. We need to go out there and issue a statement, topple them and say, listen, you know what? We are the number one team in London and we're coming back for that. And you're right. You know what I mean? The money's there. Everything's in place now. Let's, get things back to how they should be. You know?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to say it. Don't be afraid to say
exactly.
We're going to start the league on day one. Because that's the only reason why we're 10 points behind tomorrow. Chelsea were prepared. They needed their signings. They needed a goalkeeper. They went and got him. They needed a playmaker in midfield. They went and bought him. They needed a centre forward. They got rid of Etu and all the bits and pieces and Demba Ba. They went and got Costa. There you go. Spinal players, done. Season starts. They win the first 10 out of 12 games they win. League's over, really. The rest of us all playing catch-up. They are prepared. Why can't we prepare? And start the season on day one.
Yeah. Very, very good. Well, Clive, I can't disagree. Absolutely fantastic points. Clive and Rob, absolutely. I don't,
but
you know what I mean?
That also comes from the manager as well.
It's a club issue, Claude. You're absolutely right. It's hierarchical from top to bottom. And when people criticise the manager, I don't criticise him, actually. I think it's a hierarchical issue.
Well,
I'd love to see 2 or 3 Wengers in the club, not just one. Because he's a great man. We need more of him.
Clive, this is where I disagree, because I think maybe he's got too much control.
That's what I mean. We need 2 or 3 like him, so that control is then lessened. And we have a deeper people infrastructure in the club that allow us to be bigger. You look at teams like Bayern Munich, they've got big people behind the club.
Can I just point out the reason Alex Ferguson was very successful in his was very successful because he delegated. He delegated. Different coaches, he changed different coaches, he delegated his work. With Arsenal, it appears that Wenger wants to do it from top to bottom, and that is where the problem lies.
Yeah, go on.
Well, sorry to interrupt. Well, I'll disagree. Alex Ferguson delegated. He also got very lucky as well.
Oh.
And what Clive is saying about the mentality, Clive, and obviously, but Clive, you make a magnificent point.
Very lucky, and this is what I mean. This is why we don't go forward.
Here we go.
This is why we don't go forward.
Here we go. Here's Mr. Positivity again. Like I was saying before I was interrupted. Clive, you make a fantastic point. People blame Arsenal, and this is what they're getting it wrong. They're getting it wrong. Now, he's such an honourable man, unlike Mourinho, and unlike Ferguson, may I say, that he won't call the ball down. If you're going to moan, you moan, and I'm saying you should, because the board is a fantastic business model. You moan at them. You don't moan at the manager, because the manager is doing his job. Now, if people are
but the only thing I'd say to that is like what Clive is saying.
Yes.
I was watching the Champions League the other day, and I was watching Bayern Munich. I'm like, I want my club to be like them.
Yeah.
It's time now. It's time for us to be on that level.
We said it
We've got everything in place to be a Bayern Munich. All right, it's a harder league to win here, but we've got everything in place. Now financial fair play as well is in place as well. We've got everything in place to be a Bayern Munich. Let's be a Bayern Munich. Like Clive said, if we need to sign Paul Pogba and we can get him, then go and buy him.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean? It's time now. It's time. We've had 10 years where we've been very patient, but now it's time to move this club onto another level. And as I said, when I watched Bayern Munich the other day, I'm like, look at Bayern Munich. They're rivaling Barcelona and Real Madrid. They'll all be scared to play them.
Yeah.
You know, so let's do that. I agree with Clive. We're Arsenal Football Club. This is a massive, massive, massive club. The biggest club in London.
We mustn't be so humble about who we are any longer. We haven't always had the players.
It's about time we behave like a bit massive club then.
Yeah, we just need to be a little bit less humble and recognise that actually this group of players, I really like them. I actually like them a lot.
Yes.
I've always said that in the last 4 or 5 years. I haven't liked some of our players in the way they play and the way they carry themselves, but I really like this group. And what we're seeing in the first sort of 13, 14 players will only drive on Jack Wilshere when he comes back in.
Yes.
You saw signs of Theo Walcott in the end of the Reading game, but he'd had enough of being on the bench, and he started to move.
Yeah.
And he could be a bit of a wild card tomorrow. So it's all about playing, competition and playing. And I think if we add a little bit more and maybe just allow other players who are older, who are not playing, to go elsewhere and actually play, because it's not fair to have 30-plus-year-olds on the bench not playing week in, week out. They need to be allowed to go and further their careers elsewhere, and we then add more competition to the group. And then competition, as I always say, drives high performance.
And rewards improvements. Indeed. Okay, let's move it on now. We've discussed that. We've discussed how you guys see our season so far. Let's move on. I want to move on to the last major topic, which is basically the banner, the Cesc Fabregas banner situation. I'll come to Claude last of all, but I want to start with Robbie. I'll come to Claude and Ty last of all. I'll start with Robbie and Clive. Guys, should Cesc actually be up there in the first place, or not? Clive.
Well, you know what, Arsenal are a honourable club, right? They do things with class, right? And Cesc Fabregas was our captain for years. He's made, hundreds of appearances, and we all know the rumours of how and why he left, but it's up there, and that's where we do things. I think we need to be bigger than some of the issues that around people and players. I'd like to see Cesc Fabregas get a little ripple of applause and we move on. Because that's football. It's very transient. Let's not harbour these issues, because some of these players, it's all about the money anyway. And we love the club and they move on, and it's just a job to them for some of them. For some it's more than a job. But we mustn't we mustn't motivate Cesc Fabregas by attacking him. I know it's not going to work. People are going to attack him. That's it. That is the DNA of a football fan. But I'd like it to be a bit bigger than that and concentrate on supporting Alexis Sanchez and Ozil, because I think they're better than him. I think we've moved on now. When we replaced him with Arteta, and Arteta came and kept his club afloat for 3 years on his own back, then we were looking at Fabregas wondering whether we should have him back and etc. But now I actually think we've got better players than Cesc Fabregas, so I'm not worried about him at all.
Robbie?
Listen, first of all, on that point, I've said this. I think I've said this in podcasts right at the start of the season. And I'm sure you'll back me up here, G. I said, when everybody was saying to me, we should have went and bought Cesc Fabregas, I'm like, why? We've got so many of that type of player. We've got Ozil. We've got Santi Cazorla. What difference would Cesc Fabregas have made to our team? If you're saying to me, if you would have said to me at the start of the season, we should have signed Matic, I would have agreed with you. Because that was the sort of player that we needed, as has been shown with Coquelin coming into our midfield. It's been shown that is exactly the type of midfielder we needed. But we've got creative players. We've got Jack Wilshere. We've got, it's coming out of our ears. So we didn't need Cesc Fabregas, and I've said that all along. as regards with the banner, there was, I heard, I got an email from somebody who said to me that the reason why, he understands that that's up there is because, it was, Ken Fryer had it up there because Cess was one of his favourite players. And so that's why he had it up there. That is, I don't know if that's true or not. I must admit, Clive's been very nice there. I'm a little bit like Claude. This guy's gone now. You're at Chelsea. The way in which you left, I don't know. I don't think that banner should be up there. I don't think we'd see see one up there for an Arsenal player if it was the other way around at Chelsea. And I know what you're saying about the class issues, and it is a business for those players. And respect due to them, they've got to approach it, and they've got to put food on the table and approach it as a business. But I'm approaching this as an Arsenal fan, and you play for Chelsea, mate, right? And if you play for Chelsea, then sorry, I don't want to see you on our bridge. You go on Stamford Bridge, not be on our bridge. That's the way I see it. I'm looking on it from a fan's point of view. When he made his decision, he looked at it from a player's point of view, and respect due to him, he can look from it from a player's point of view. But my fan's point of view is, no, I agree with Claude. I don't really want to see it up there. It doesn't seem right.
Claude, is there one? Is there Robbie and Van Persie? Because to be honest with you, I don't look at the banners when I go into the ground. Is there
not a Van Persie one?
It's not a Van Persie one. So Fabregas is the only controversial figure that we know that's hung up outside of the Emirates. Ty and Claude.
Yes. Hold on, just before you go, put Ashley Cole one up there, shall we, next? Where do we, you know what I mean? I'm looking at this from a fan's point of view. No, you've gone. You've gone, mate. Nah.
Yeah. I was
and it's the way they left. You know what I mean? Do you want to see a Nasri one up there?
Ty,
okay, I think you make a great point, man.
Very good.
Can we just rewind that podcast a bit?
Do you want me to edit it out, airbrush it out? Yeah. Ty, are these one of the rare occasions where you actually agree with Claude then?
Well, rare, yes. Yes and no. Now, Clive makes an absolutely brilliant point. I think Clive's point is spot on. This is the funny thing, and I agree. We shouldn't allow ourselves to get. I can't really say bad words. I think that's Claude's job, but so just joking, Claude. He's jumping at a bit, but I think we shouldn't allow ourselves to be brought down to people who lack class. So Clive makes a brilliant point. The reason I don't agree that it should be there, but the fact that it is there, Rob, I agree with you as well. But what it is that he is out of order. But the thing is, the contribution, like Clive said, the contribution he made for us should not be underestimated. When you think he did leave in the end, but for so long he was getting tapped up, and he did stay, and he was a fantastic player for us.
So was Van Persie.
No, he was. But the thing is, I'm not saying it's right, but I can understand because I'm seeing where the club is coming from, and I think what Clive is maybe trying to say, if I can speak for him, I know he can speak well for himself, is that the problem is that, Rob, what you say is that it's a fans thing. The problem is with the board, and I'm not disrespecting the board in any shape or form, there's a lot of people who are business people. There's no fan on the board, because if a fan was on the board, a fan would say, listen, you can't have Cess banner up. The fans are not going to like it. But the club have run it as a business. Because why else would we, if I can go off on a tandem, I'm sorry that I am, make a joint statement with Tottenham Hotspur about trouble at games? Can you imagine? Why would we ever do that? But these people are putting it up. They're not basing it on a football fantasy. They're basing it on sentimentality. And I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong because, like you say, Rob...
Sorry, there's 60,000 of us at every game. There's about 10 of them.
Yeah.
Right? They got to respect us as well.
Absolutely. But that's what I'm saying, Rob. They don't see it from my point of view. Because, like I said, with the White Hart Lane thing, I would love one of them to travel with us to White Hart Lane, undercover, and see the kind of madness, and I say madness, we deal with for a football game. But they're not seeing it. They're not looking at it like that, or they're refusing to, because they're thinking, oh, no, we can't be like Chelsea. I mean...
And when they build that new stadium at White Hart Lane, they won't have a picture of George Graham up on that bridge.
Sol Campbell.
They won't have Sol Campbell. They won't say, Sol done great things for us. Let's put a banner up.
No, they won't, Rob.
So I agree with, I've got to agree with Claude on this one. I mean, I know if that is the true reasons about the Ken Fryer thing, then fair enough. He's done a lot for Arsenal, and we respect him so much.
Yeah.
But it don't sit right with me to see Chelsea go about, like Claude said, about to win the title somewhere else, and then he's on our bridge like we're honouring him. What for?
No, Rob,
Can I go on?
I just say one.
Oh, sorry.
Go on, Clive. Go on.
Go on, Clive. Sorry.
I just want to say one quick thing. I mean, I didn't have an opinion about the banner being up there, but you know what? Rob made some great points, and why do this? It's very simple. Take it down. But what I would like to see is that when the player's on the pitch, that we don't degrade ourselves by concentrating on booing him. You know, that was my only point. I'd much rather see us support the players we have got, because I actually believe they're way better than him. I think he's now, he's already, for me, in the moonlight of his career. I don't think he's going to get better next year. I think he was overplayed as a youth, and I think he's going to be an average player in a couple of years' time. Well, so I'm not worried. I'd much rather focus on Ramsey. I'd much rather focus on Oxlade-Chamberlain, Wilshere, Ozil. There, for me, that's what I want to think about, not
Clive, you know what? That's absolutely brilliant. See, this is the thing. We are supposed to concentrate on the game, not booing him. When Ashley came back for the first time, I remember people actually were telling me, I'm only coming to boo Ashley. So you haven't come to support the team. We need to focus on the game, because that is what Mourinho and Cesc maybe, that's what they want. They want him to be the pantomime villain. So we waste, and I say waste all our energy on booing him. Clive, you're right. He's the past, and we should forget about him and put our energies into supporting the players out there now. It's the past. You know, as far as I'm concerned, it's the past. However he left, whatever's happened, it's the past. And this is what I'm saying about the mind games. These are all mind games. Hopefully it will work against us, because, you know, he's going to think, my pictures up. He would have heard that his pictures up, you know. But like Clive was saying, we have to concentrate on what's now. Forget about him. Play the game and not the occasion.
Okay, can we bring it to... I think Claude's been waiting very patiently. Hasn't said a word.
He doesn't do patience.
He's done it pretty well on this occasion, I have to say.
This is going to be something.
Talk about taking 59 minutes out of a 60-minute podcast. Anyway, right, this is where I stand on it. I've changed my stance on the booing. I think we now have to forget about the booing, and let's concentrate on getting behind the team and winning the game. Yeah, that's true. Right. What I will say, I'm removing him in my head from the history of our football club. The moment he kissed that Chelsea shirt, he removed from the history of for me, doesn't belong to the history of my football club anymore.
I think you made a great point on that radio show yesterday. You said that as a club captain, even though whether he was or was not injured, as a club captain, he should have been attending that game at Fulham on the last day of the season. Steven Gerrard didn't play for Liverpool on the last day of that season, but still attended the Liverpool game. For him to be seen at the Spanish Grand Prix showed such a lack of respect, you know, for the club after all they'd done for him, and it just kind of goes hand in hand with the whole kind of him kind of unsettling and being unsettled and being difficult to manage in the last few months of his stay at Arsenal, you know. So I think there was it was a cardinal sin for what he'd done.
What I will say, and I'm going to finish. David Rocastle. I mean, this is supposed to be a bridge of legends, right? David Rocastle. If David Rocastle is not an Arsenal legend and he's not on the bet on them bridges, then the club have got something to answer for. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can disagree with that, Claude.
I didn't know that.
He's a legend.
That's not right.
Yeah.
Fabregas, for me, does not belong anymore in the history of Arsenal Football Club. And I will say it. And I don't. Other Arsenal fans can have their own thing. For me, to me, I don't care about him anymore. I don't care one iota about him.
I think if you ask any Arsenal fan though, Ty, if you ask any Arsenal fan, Fabregas up there or Rocastle up there, I think you'd get a 99%, if not 100%. Saying
you would.
Rocastle, so.
You would with David, but the problem is, I'm sorry, I cannot agree. I don't doubt that Cesc is out of order, but I cannot agree with Claude when he said what Cesc has done worse than what Ashley did. Where's the like Robin?
But actually, but we're not
on the bridge,
yeah,
though.
not on the bridge.
We're not on
He's
the
not on the
bridge.
bridge.
No,
He's not on the bridge. He's talking about why is David Rocastle not up on there?
Absolutely,
and
but they're
Fred Bregas is.
Yeah, no, that's true. G. Rob, but the thing is, though, they're part of the history. You can't say. Imagine, look what Emmanuel did.
But Rocastle was a bigger part of the history. He was there in 1989, our greatest moment.
And he should be there. No, I think he should be there. But I think Claude is wrong to say that.
Can I come in? Can I come in? Because you've made your point. Can I come in now?
And you've made yours as well.
Right, let me make my point, yeah? Well, I didn't interrupt you on yours.
You did interrupt me, first of all.
Right, wait a minute. On Ashley Cole, right? I'm not like everyone else on Ashley Cole, believe it or not.
He thinks he's done the right thing.
Because Ashley Cole was given a contract and it was taken away from him.
No, what?
Right, let's get this right. When Ashley Cole played for Arsenal and part of the Invincible, Ashley Cole always gave 100% and always respected the club while he played for the club.
Well, I don't know about that.
What? Listen.
I don't know about that. I'm sorry, I can't.
Ashley Cole, and I'm going to defend him on this.
I won't.
I'm going to defend Ashley Cole.
I won't.
He was given an offer by the board and then it was withdrawn. That what people don't understand.
And then to understand.
Right?
So that's why you turn
and for
turn
a player,
the club off.
For a player that gave 100% in every game was bang out of order. And Thank you.
Also,
that's all I'm going to say on that case.
Okay, and also what was bang out of order was the fact that he said, and I quote him, which is the dumbest thing I've heard on my lucky 45 years on this earth. A slave would not earn £55,000 a week.
He never said that.
He said that. It's in his book, okay?
He never
Clive,
said that.
Rob G, can you back me up? Is it not in his book that he said a slave would not earn £55,000?
All eyes on you, Clive.
Hold on. Did I say I read that book? Well, not having read the book, I actually think Arsenal messed up badly with Ashley Cole as a club. I think we messed up. We should never let a player that we've nurtured from 8 years of age get into the England team, be part of our Invincibles, and then we let him go for £5,000 a week. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
And I'm sure there's two sides to that story. But
Clive, you know what? That's where we used to be at.
Exactly, Rob. We're coming back to that point now.
It's what you're saying, isn't it, about changing that mentality?
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's where we used to be at. And I also feel that, there's a thing about being classy, but I don't know. I just don't feel Manchester United would have a City guy up there. I don't feel that, it's serious, you know what I mean? Would Dortmund
They've got Dennis Law. I'm sure Dennis Law is still seen as an icon in
Manchester. That's a little different.
Remember, his goal sent Man United down.
That's right.
Yeah, but do you remember his reaction when it sent them down?
But he still sent him down. He's still an icon. He still went over. He's crossed the divide.
You think Dortmund would have a flag? Dortmund will have a flag of Lewandowski up on there. They wouldn't do it. Yeah, I mean,
well, there's always
I'm
exceptions
sorry.
to the rule. There's always exceptions, but I understand exactly what you're saying. But there are exceptions.
Joel, things changed in football. Remember, Pat Jennings played for Arsenal and Spurs. We welcomed him. Things have changed.
Yeah, but there's ways in which you leave as well. You know what? It's all in how you leave as well. Sometimes,
That's true.
It's all in how you leave. It's all,
That's true.
It's like the way Van Persie left, the way Nasri left. You know what I mean? There's other players that have left Arsenal that have gone to rivals, but you know what? We don't give them any stick because they left with a bit of class.
Yeah, but what fans don't get is the way Ashley Cole was treated by the board. Why don't they have a go at the board
but Claude, you know what with Ashley Cole is when he went to Chelsea, the sort of things he started saying.
Thank you.
The sort of way he started reacting towards Arsenal fans. Don't get me wrong, we gave him a lot of grief, don't get me wrong.
Well, exactly.
But you've got to show. I mean, look at Adebayor that time with sliding in front of the fans.
Yeah.
Sometimes just have a bit of class about it.
Have a bit of sense, Rob. It's absolutely, Rob. It's about have sense. But for that comment, which I reiterate,
do not put Adebayor in the same league as Cole. Adebayor is just a rent player who wants to play whoever pays more money. He's not interested in football. Adebayor is just a money grabber.
And Ashley is then. He's actually interested in football. But the thing is, yeah, fair enough, Rob. No, that's right. But the thing is, Rob, the problem I see with Ashley that if you got no sense in your head, then you don't know anything. Because for him to say that, I agree, Rob, Clive, I agree, we did mess up.
It's a matter of
and
principle.
Claude, I agree we messed up, but the way he carried on was way over the top. If I saw him now, I would say to him, can you explain your comment when you said
if your boss decided to give you money, say you've got to have a pay rise,
I don't know why these two.
If your boss gives you a pay rise, and then says you can't have it, what would you do?
I'll tell you what I'll do. Can you hear me, everyone?
And then takes it away from you, what would you do?
I'll tell you what I'll do. First of all,
I'd walk out,
First of all, Clive, Rob and G. And Claude, I'll give you the scenario. We all lucky enough and fortunate enough to get to school, go to school. Do you remember in the playground we used to play snipe?
Oh,
Do you remember that? Do you remember snipe?
This is a football discussion.
Can you let them speak, please?
We're not talking about playground.
Yeah, because
it's a football discussion.
Because the thing is, the reason why I'm saying that because Ashley acted like he was in the like he stood in kindergarten. If you got a problem in the club, you come as a man or a woman, and say what's wrong. You don't start saying, oh yeah, I'm going to tell everyone what the club did to me. And then when you leave now, you start saying rubbish. If you got a problem in the club, you think the club has treated you badly, you go and tell them like a man. Why are you acting like a fool, dare I say it, with your agent? You know, apparently, I've heard, you know what I mean? What's all this? And to make
I think G, I did tell you about these things.
Yeah. All right, guys. Can we?
This could go to penalties. Yeah. You're carrying on.
And a replay. All right, guys. We're not going to get any further on this subject.
Okay.
All right. So let's move it on to the quick fire round and want your predictions. So first up, your predictions. So predict the score and your first goal scorer, Claude.
3-1 to Arsenal, and I think Giroud the first goal.
Wow.
Tie.
2-0 to us. Alexis, 45.
Robbie.
2-1 to Arsenal. I'm going Alexis as well. First goal scorer.
Clive.
2-1 Arsenal, Giroud.
Okay, one or the other. Clive, Sanchez or Hazard?
I generally believe Sanchez. I genuinely believe it.
Robbie.
I go Sanchez as well, because it's his first season in English football. So that's why I go Sanchez.
Ty.
Well, it's probably good for us. Alexis all day, every day.
And Claude.
You ain't got to ask me that one. Sanchez is better than sex, mate.
Right. I was going to say Ozil versus Chess, but that's going to be a whitewash.
I'm sorry everyone's interrupted. I thought it wasn't that kind of show. What's he on about now?
All right, so moving on, the last one. Cup final. Who would you have preferred, Liverpool or Villa? Claude.
You know what? I said this to Robbie last week. I would have, after the way we played against Reading, because of the complacency in the team, I would have preferred to play Liverpool in the final.
All right. Ty, just one word, one or the other, please. Liverpool or Villa?
See, he's taking all my time.
One word.
God. I'm sorry. Is your name Ty? Aston Villa.
Villa. Robbie.
Got to say Villa as well. I mean, we got the beat in a Villa.
All right, and Clive.
Yeah, I'd say Villa. We've been spared the Steven Gerrard narrative.
Oh yeah, there's that as well.
Exactly.
Cool.
And that was one thing I was really worried about.
Cool. All right, guys. I want to thank you all for coming on.
Thank you.
Robbie, Clive, Mayweather, Pacquiao, aka Claude, and Ty.
Who's Mayweather? Who's Pacquiao?
Well, I'm Mayweather.
And I just want to let the people know you didn't have to pay to listen to this. This is the big, this is the podcast for the ages with them two on it. I want to thank you both for coming on. It's a great pleasure having you all on. And,
more like the two Ronnies.
Well, he said it, I didn't.
All right, and hopefully we see a good result tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Good night, goodbye, fellas, and.
Bye,
thank you,
G.
everybody,
Thanks,
for coming on.
Thanks a lot, G. Thanks a lot, Rob.
Cheers.
Fantastic points.
Thanks,
a lot, Clive.
Thank you.
Magnificent points, Clive. We need to see you more on Arsenal Fan TV, Clive, because you were brilliant.
It's finished now.
Cheers.
Imagine.